Hope. This word that speaks with great certainty. Hope is where reality meets our destiny. Hope is when where we've been meets where we're going. Amidst this toil and current of torment, we must keep on rowing. It's not a false expectation of some half-truth. It's not a dream imagined as some false proof. Hope isn't wishful thinking or lack of reason. Hope is deep-seated confidence in the Creator of all seasons. Sometimes in this Babylon the world seems to spin. It's wearing me out and my patience is growing thin. This life and this place feels hopeless. My God, my King, please help me face this. My hope is in you alone, and my soul secure in the grace from your throne. Because these three remain, faith, hope, and love. My hope is steadfast in my Father above.
If you have your bulletins, I want to encourage you to pull them out. And as you're doing that, I just want to remind you one more thing that's not in the bulletins: our Priceless Bible study, our Priceless Women's Ministry. There is a ladies' Bible study tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Make sure you are part of that. We have Ladies' Night In, the third Wednesday of every month, and Ladies' Night Out, which is the last Friday of every month. So if you want more information, you can see Chastity Head or my wife, Sarah Rose, for the Ladies' Night In, Ladies' Night Out. But yeah, tomorrow in the coffee shop. Again, it's a great night. We have an average of 16 ladies that come out, and I just want to tell you, they are blessed. And it's intense. I see them laying hands on each other and praying for each other. And if you are in need of that, some good fellowships and getting some ladies, a good support system around you, and just diving into God's Word, ladies, you need to be here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. So if you are joining us, you missed the first 2 weeks, I encourage you to look at our website, because we're going through our Thriving in Babylon series, and week 1 was character. Week 2, last week, we talked about trust and relying on God, talking about how do we live godly lives in a godless culture. Again, Matthew 24, Matthew 25 talks about the end times, and the culture is not going to change. All right, as much as we pray, and can God send a revival? Absolutely. I'm praying that God would send a revival all across our land. But these things must come. And so, because if we want Jesus to return, how many want Jesus to return? Then the end must come. And so our culture that we live in today, it's as you see here, it's godless. And we don't have to look far. All we have to do is grab our cell phone and the ads that even are on Facebook or social media, and the television shows that are coming out, and it's just an atrocity, and it grieves my spirit. But then there's part of me that understands that the end must come. But until Jesus returns, this is where it's so important for you and I to focus on this part right here about living godly, because we may. In fact, as culture, even if culture does not change, we can still change the climate of spirit by living a godly life. And sometimes we focus on what a godless culture we live in, and God says, well, why don't you put so much attention into your own life and how you can live godly, how you can live for me. So if we are going to thrive in this culture that we live in, then we must live godly lives. And today I want to talk about hope. See, hope is one of the most important traits that we live with in our lives. Hope is what keeps you and I going. But what happens when what you hope for doesn't pan out? Then this verse, and again, I feel like every week God is putting me in situations so that when I preach to you, I really know and I'm feeling what I'm preaching. And so this verse happened to me this week. Go ahead and put that up. Proverbs 13:12. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. Hope deferred means it's not there right away. It's out there and it's not coming. Makes the heart sick. So I want to give you an illustration. See, on Thursday, I just had a bad day. I'm just going to have you walk with me. See, on Thursday is what I call my maintenance day. And so I was out mowing the lawn in the front. And as I was mowing the lawn and trimming around, the trimmer broke. And so for those of you that have used trimmers, and you have that spool of plastic, and you try to put that spool in, it just, how many of you know that's just a headache?
Yeah, it is.
So that's what I was doing. So there I'm out on Speria Road trying to put the spool of plastic trim wire in, and that wasn't working. And then I was mowing the lawn, and the grass was so wet, it was so long that the motor kept getting clogged. And then as I tried to take all the wet grass from underneath the mower, okay, the mower stopped, but I was cleaning it, and I cut my finger on one of the blades. And so then, after that, and I finished mowing, and I finished trimming, and then the motor it stalled, and I couldn't get if the engine flooded. And then when I was putting the fertilizer, because the grass was brown out there, I was putting the fertilizer in, and then the fertilizer got on my burnt cut, and my hand was burning. And I tell you, it was one thing after the other. And I was just like, I am done. I am done. And I look at my hands and I have blisters. Can you see that? Can you see the blisters? Everybody say, aww. So here I was on my knees trying to get the trimmer working, trying to get the mower started. And I'm like, I just had a meltdown. And so I was having this pity party, and I want to tell you, it was delicious. This pity party was so... Have you ever at Thanksgiving, you carve a turkey, and it's just, you see the juices flowing and the butter coming in? That was my pity party. And I was just carving it up. And I was like, nobody on Hesperia Road cares. They didn't even stop to see my... No one gave me... I was sweating, and my shirt was drenched, and nobody cared. And so this pity party went on and on. I was like, God, no, I shouldn't be mowing the lawn. Somebody should see that pastor's doing this, and they should pick it up. And then like nobody sees the bulletin, because in your insert, it's got the carpenter's hands of all the things that I want to do. And our 60th anniversary is coming up, and nothing's getting done. And we had choir practice on Tuesday, and only Larry showed up. Like, no one wants to be in my choir. And I just had it. Hope deferred. This was me, hope deferred. And my heart was sick. So what do you think a good pastor did? Do you think that I got in my word? I just locked myself in my war room and I just began to pray? You think I went in here and just walked around the sanctuary and just worshiped? You think your pastor did that? No! And if you are judging me, shame on you. I didn't want nothing to do with that. I called Sarah, I said, I'm taking the rest of the day off, I'm just going to go see a movie. And I know it probably shouldn't have been the right thing to do. I should have been in here in my war room. I should have had the worship music going on. I should have grabbed my word and said, God, I don't care how I feel. I'm just going to give you your word. No, I did none of that. Why? Because hope deferred made my heart sick. So I am sharing this with you because you may be in here today or you may be watching online and you're at that place. And you're wondering, where is God? Lord, I put my hope, I put my trust in you, but my marriage isn't changing. My kids are still my kids, or my job situation hasn't changed, or this, or that, whatever it may be. And you may be in here today and your heart is sick because your hope has been deferred. Yes. Then God, again, says, you know what? Now you're ready to preach this message on Sunday. Because I'm right with you. And so I did that. So after I felt guilty about going to see a movie, I got in the Word, I got in prayer. Because again, you always know what to do, but sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. And again, if you're judging me, then shame me. Pastors are people too. So I got back to my study, and here's the Greek definition of hope. In the Greek, it's elpis, which means nothing. You don't care about that. But the origin means the first part, the elpo. And that means to anticipate, usually with pleasure. That's what hope means, to anticipate, usually with pleasure. Now for me, I had none of that. I was not anticipating anything good on Thursday. There was no pleasure in what I was doing on Thursday. But I have to remember the second part of that verse. But a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. And that God is a God of hope. And just because we don't feel or we don't sense that hope is coming, we have to remember and trust God. Amen. That it's coming. Yes. Your longing will be fulfilled. And so here's the verse this week that I want you to memorize. It's Romans 15:13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you, what? Trust in Him. Everybody say trust.
Trust.
As you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope, and that you would overflow and anticipate that when you hope, that it will usually be pleasurable by the power of the Holy Spirit. So I began to thank God for everything He has done for me. Just because I couldn't see in that moment what was ahead, God just showed me when we first got here and everything that God has done for us. And so I canceled my pity party. I said, all right, I'm done. I got up, walked away. Well, my prayer is today, if you're feeling hopeless, that you'll be encouraged just like I was. And just because something doesn't happen in the moment that you want it to, doesn't mean that God has failed. So don't give up hope. Let's pray. Father, this morning we thank you that you are a God of hope. God, that without you we are hopeless. God, so I pray, God, that there are those in here that are struggling, God, and need just a good dose of hope. I pray that you would fill them this morning, that they would walk out with a double portion, so much that they can't carry it, God, that it just flows through them, and that hope just starts hitting other people wherever they go. And God, if there's any discouragement, God, I pray that you would bind that in the name of Jesus. Lord, when the enemy comes in, Lord, and tries to discourage and tries to deceive and say that there is no hope coming, God. Lord, anybody that is bound, God, by fear, anybody that is bound, God, this morning, God, with any sense of despair, God, I pray that you would break that in Jesus' name. And Lord, that your truth would set them free this morning. So give us ears to hear, minds to be able to understand what you're saying, God. And Lord, faith in our hearts to be obedient to apply it. Not just to hear it or understand it, God, but to do it. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so as we are talking about this Thriving in Babylon series, and we're in Daniel chapter 6 today. Now, again, this is by watching online, or if you haven't been here the past 2 weeks. Daniel, we started in Daniel chapter 1, and we looked at the character of Daniel as he was a captive. So if you don't know the story of Daniel, I encourage you to read it. In Daniel chapter 1, it says that he was taken captive and he was brought into Babylon from his hometown. But because Daniel was educated and he was someone that the king thought he could use, he was brought into the king's service. And so as Daniel was put in the king's service, he was given a different name. He was told what to eat, but this is what we talked about it, that Daniel said, you know what, I am not going to eat what you eat, but I'm going to be obedient to what I know that has been taught me. So he did what we call the Daniel fast. And because of that, God gave him wisdom and favor with the king. And then last week, we looked at Daniel chapter 3, and we talked about the fiery furnace with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego not worshiping or bowing down to idols. And I want to tell you, from week 1 to week 2, in both instances, when God's people stood up for truth, stood up for what they knew was right, God honored them. And I want to tell you today, when you stand up and do the right thing, no matter what the pressure is, no matter how many people are doing the wrong thing, when you do the right thing, God will always honor you. Just as he honored Daniel, just as he honored Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So now we fast forward to chapter 6. We know the story of Daniel and the lion's den. That's what we're focusing on today. But it's not about the lions, it's about the hope in the midst of the lion's den. And God wants you to have hope that everything will turn out okay, that God is completely in control.
Amen.
So how do we have hope? The first thing you need to do is you need to rest in God's control. If you want hope today, you have to understand that hope rests in God's control. We use a word that you may not understand. It's called sovereignty, which means that God rules, that God has authority. That means that everything is under God's control. Hope rests in God's control. That nothing happens without God's direction or permission. And that's where we're at in Daniel chapter 6. Now, when Daniel was taken captive, he was 15 years old. Now he is approximately 80 years old. So from chapter 1 to chapter 6, Daniel is now 80 years old. And he has gone through a lifetime of tough situations. So we pick it up in verse 1. It says, it pleased Darius to appoint 120 satraps to rule throughout the kingdom, with 3 administrators over them, one of whom was Daniel. The satraps were made accountable to them so the king might not suffer loss. But Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king had planned to set him over the whole kingdom. So again, I don't want to read into Scripture, but I have to think if Daniel was 15 and now Daniel's 80, and he's gone through these situations in his life, he has to say, okay, God, you brought me this far. There must be a purpose. And see, hope is entrusting our lives. It's entrusting our plans. It's entrusting our purposes into the hands of God.
Amen.
That's what hope is. It's saying, this is my life. It's yours. This is whatever you're struggling with today, whatever you are hoping for, it rests in God's control. That means it's not in my hands any longer, but it's in God's hands. That's what hope is. It's resting to say, God, I take this from me and I give it to you. You be in control of this. It's no longer mine. And that's exactly what we do when we say hope. It's resting in God's control. But I want to tell you this uninvited guest that came to my pity party last week, or on Thursday. And his name was Worry. How many of you have experienced worry? Has worry crashed your parties? Worry comes in like this uninvited guest and becomes the party planner of the pity party. Worry is the party planner of the pity party. Say that 5 times fast. And I was like, I didn't invite you. He's like, I don't care, I'm here to party. And that's what happens. Worry comes in and crashes. So I come here and I say, God, I give you my life. I give you my life. We can either do this or we can sit in our pity party and say, God, I don't know if I can trust you with this. I don't know if I can trust you in my marriage. I don't know if I can trust you in my school or this or that. And so you know what, God, I'm going to hold on to this. And that's exactly what we do, and that's a choice that we have to make. But really, what good does worry do? Jesus said, I tell you, do not worry about your life. What you will eat or what you will drink or about your body or what you will wear. Is not life more than food and the body more than clothes? In verse 27 of chapter 6 of Matthew, Jesus says, can any of you by worrying add a single hour to your life? But we struggle so much and we waste so much time and energy and lack of sleep and we don't eat and we get on medication and whatnot simply because we don't know how to rest in God's control. Amen. That's our problem. We don't rest in God's control. So if we don't allow God to control it, then who's controlling it? Mr. Party Planner Worry over here. Worry is a hope killer. But guess what? Worry doesn't travel alone. I want to introduce you to his 3 friends that like to crash the party as well. Number 1, it's nearsightedness. Nearsightedness. This will kill your hope when you are nearsighted. What's that mean? It means seeing only what's right in front of you. There's been times in my life where I'm so fixated on what's going on, I don't even think what's happening around me. I'm so fixed on what I'm trying to do, and God's like, why don't you just let me do that? But I'm so focused on my problem, I'm so focused on my this or that, and the Holy Spirit's like, just rest in me. Just give that to me. Just trust me with that. But I'm so fixated on what I feel nobody else can do, but only I can do, that I don't allow the Holy Spirit or allow God to help me. In Proverbs 3, 5 and 6, it says to trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding in all your ways. So here, don't be nearsighted. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will straighten your paths. In all your ways, acknowledge. So if you are so fixated on this, and you're nearsighted, and you don't see what's going on around you, God is always around you, friends. He's always around you. Trust Him. Acknowledge Him. He'll make your paths straight. Number 2, the second friend of worry is spiritual amnesia. Spiritual amnesia. This is forgetting what God has done in the past. And that's what God had to remind me on Thursday. Because I was like, oh, God's 60th anniversary is coming up, and this is not getting taken care of, and that's not getting taken care of. And God's like, well, do you remember where you started from? And where you're at now? How many of you were here with the gold pews and the blue carpet? Yeah. How many of you don't remember the blue carpet or the gold chairs? Raise your hand.
Amen.
This is where God has brought us from. But it's not about that. I'm just saying God has brought us in for so many things, and God has brought so many of you to help me. But it's so easy to forget what God has done in the past. We have to remember that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And sometimes when we're at our own little pity party with worry and spiritual amnesia comes in, we need to remember the faithfulness of God. Psalm 103 says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not." Don't forget all His benefits. Who forgives all your iniquity, who heals all your diseases, who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with steadfast love and mercy, who satisfies you with good so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. Friends, we have to remember in that moment when we're so caught up in worry and doubt and fear, take a moment and remember what God has done for you. If you don't journal, write stuff down. Because life is so fast now, I forget all the things that God does. Because He does so many things. So I have to remember, and I write it down and say, God, thank you. So that when I get in these moments, I can take my book out and I can look at it and say, yes, God, this is when you healed me. This is when you answered prayer. This is when I saw my son come to know you as Lord and Savior. This is when I saw him pray. There's so many little things that we forget. And the last one is to be outward focused. Outward focus. This means we begin to be envious and jealous of God's blessings towards other people, and especially wicked people. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get discouraged when I see wicked people getting away with stuff. Anybody else? I'm like, God, why do you allow this to happen? Why? You know, when I am trying so hard to do what's right, and it's a struggle. But then I know my neighbors, or I know so-and-so, and they don't love you at all, and yet you're blessing them with all this stuff. And we become outward focused, and we're actually mad at God because we feel God is blessing them instead of us. But in Proverbs it says, the Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. I want to tell you, friends, you may see people that don't love God doing bad stuff. Students, you may see it in your schools. Adults, you see it in your workplace, or you see it in your neighborhoods. I want you to know that their day is coming. And I don't wish anything bad to happen to them. But if they don't choose God and they choose to do what they want to do, just remember that their day is coming. That God will reward those that do right, and He will bring punishment upon those that do wrong. So just because you don't see it happening right now, doesn't mean that God is allowing them to get away with it, okay? Everything has its purpose. And we lose sight of our hope when we see godly people getting away with things. But I want to tell you, their hope is momentary. Our hope is eternal. Their hope is momentary. So they may be getting away with it for a moment, but they will still have to stand before God and be accountable for that. And I would rather give up the momentary things because I know what awaits me in eternity, which far outweighs all these momentary things. So if you are here today and you are being killed by outward focus, you are being killed by spiritual amnesia, you are being killed by being just the nearsightedness, I want to encourage you, let go and rest in God's control. Hope rests in God's control. Some of you just have to let go. That's all God's waiting for. It's as simple and hard as that. It's simple because the concept is simple, but the hard thing is you actually having to do it. That's what it makes it hard. Hope rests in God's control. Daniel rested in God's control. He knew that everything had a purpose for his life. Secondly, hope is built through obedience. So I feel that Christians today not only struggle with letting go and letting God have control, but they struggle in being obedient. Because it's more than just knowing what God says up here. It's about following through here. Because even the demons know Jesus, right? So it's not just having the head knowledge, but having that application and that desire and that want to be obedient and follow through. And that's what Daniel did. He spent a lifetime obeying God in the little things. So we know I don't have time to get into the whole story, but Daniel, every day, would go upstairs and he would pray. And so these other satraps, these other administrators were so jealous that they were finding ways for Daniel to get Daniel in trouble. And so they issued a decree that says nobody should pray to you. Nobody should pray to any god or human except to you, your majesty. And they said anybody who prays to anyone but you should be thrown in a lion's den. So Daniel hears this news, and you think Daniel does anything differently? No. He goes up with the windows wide open and prays to God. Why? Because his hope rested in God's control. But he also knew a lifetime from being 15 to 80 that as he was faithful and obedient to God every step of the way, God honored that obedience and faithfulness. And so I always thought about this story, how I thought Daniel opened up the windows. But when I read this, God showed me something differently. It never said that that Daniel opened up the windows. But it also, this is what the Lord showed me this time, it also said that Daniel didn't close his windows either. The windows were open towards Jerusalem. And why did God show me this? The fact that Daniel didn't close his windows. Why? Because sin doesn't happen out in the open. No. I want you to hear me, for those of you that are struggling in sin and temptation and struggling with stuff. A lot of times it's behind closed doors that disobedience happens. Where we don't want anybody to know the struggles that we face. So if you are that person today, you need to open the doors, friend. You need to allow Jesus' light to shine in the darkest places of your life. Hallelujah. Don't stay closed. Please don't stay closed. This is why we are here. This is why men's ministry is here. This is why Priceless Women's Ministry is here. It's because we don't want anybody with closed doors here. Or closed windows. We want our lives to be open. Why? I said this last week and I'll say it again. You either embarrass your sin or sin will embarrass you. You need to understand that. Embarrass sin. Get it out. Open it up. Or one day that sin is going to embarrass you. God will not be mocked. Whatever a man sows, he will reap. Don't live a life behind closed doors. Sometimes we think, well, you know what? If I close the doors, nobody sees, nobody will get hurt. That's the lie of the enemy.
That's right.
Nobody will see. Nobody gets hurt. I want to tell you this morning, disobedience always hurts. Disobedience always hurts. And disobedience crushes our hope. Disobedience. I don't know if there's ever a time that you've sinned where you said, wow, that increased my hope. Well, I feel good about going to heaven, right? After you just disobeyed. Anybody crazy enough to raise their hand? Why? No, because every time I know I've sinned, my hope is crushed. Yes. And here comes, and I think of hope like a wall. When we obey, when we are faithful, it's like we are building this wall around our lives against the enemy. And then when disobedience comes, it crushes through that wall. And what comes in? Shame, guilt, condemnation just comes pouring in. Disobedience always hurts. Disobedience will crush your hope. Psalm 147:11 says, the Lord delights in those who fear him or obey him, who put their hope in his unfailing love. Who puts their hope in his unfailing love. Fear him, obey him. Trust is built through obedience. Be obedient. Do what's right even when you don't feel like it. I can't say that enough. Wow, that was weird. We must need to hear that one more time. So what happens? The other leaders are displeased with Daniel. They see Daniel being obedient. So they report the actions to the king. And the king has no choice but to arrest Daniel, to bind him up, and throw him in the lion's den. And sometimes when you're obedient, you're like, why am I being bound? Why am I getting thrown in the lion's den for doing what's right? I didn't ask for this. I was putting my hope in God's control. I was being obedient. I was being faithful. Why am I in the lion's den? And you may be here today, and you're just a victim of circumstance. A casualty of war. That's what Daniel was. He was a casualty of war. And what you're going through could be the result of someone else. And that's exactly what happened with Daniel. It says a stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, verse 17. But I love verse 18. It says the king returned to the palace and spent the night without eating and without any entertainment being brought to him, and he could not sleep. I love this verse. Why? Because even wicked people recognize true hope. So we see a wicked king trying to find pleasures in wicked things, and it doesn't work. Why? My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. Amen. So when you do what's right and you're faithful, wicked people will see that and will want that, because wicked things, friend, don't last. But only things of God remain. That's the only thing that will catch people's attention. So do what's right. Rest in God's control. Obedience is a bridge for others to receive hope. Because this world wants the hope we have. And the world, what the world's giving them, is not real hope. So rest in God's control. Build your life on obedience. And lastly, hope offers others respect. And I know it doesn't sound like, okay, I understand one, I understand two, but this third point, I really don't get what that has to do with hope. And I didn't see this part of the story. Again, God's just been revealing different things to me throughout the story. But there's so much disrespect from pastors and Christians nowadays. We bash on how bad our society has gone. We bash on our leadership. And there's a difference between stating facts and being just downright mean. But I feel that as Christians, we are so disrespectful to this godless culture. And this is why I put it as point 3 and what it has to do with hope. In verse 19, it says, at the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions? Look at verse 21. What does it say? Daniel answered, how dare you, you wicked and worthless king? How dare you throw me into the lion's den? Shame on you. No, it says, may the king live forever. See, hope offers others respect. And I'm going to get to this why in a second. My God sent his angel and shut the mouth of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight. Nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty. The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him because he had trusted in his God. Hope offers others respect. Now I'm getting to this. But Daniel could have called out the guys who did this to him, could have yelled at the king for being horrible, but he used this as an opportunity to glorify God. He offered respect. This is why I'm telling you, hope offers others respect. He offered respect because his hope wasn't in the king. Amen. His hope wasn't in his position or what others thought of him. His hope wasn't based on momentary things, but his hope was based on an eternal God, and that was his future. See, we don't have to be disrespectful, and sometimes we are disrespectful because we are putting our hope in the wrong people. We're putting our hope in the wrong things, and we offer disrespect because we don't remember who we belong to. We forgot that we took our hope out of God's hands and we placed our hope in somebody else's hands. And we forget that we serve an undefeated champion. We can offer other people respect and we can glorify God in our situations, in our lion's den moments, because we serve an undefeated champion. This is too quiet, so I'm going to give you a reason to shout. All right, here we go. Stay with me. In Genesis, he is your creator. In Exodus, He is your Redeemer. In Leviticus, He is your sanctification. In Numbers, He is your guide. In Deuteronomy, He is your teacher. In Joshua, He is the mighty conqueror. In Judges, He gives victory over enemies. In Ruth, He is your kinsman. In 1 Samuel, He is the root of Jesse. In 2 Samuel, He is the son of David. In 1 Kings and 2 Kings, He is the King of kings and the Lord of lords. In 1 and 2 Chronicles, He is your intercessor and high priest. In Ezra, He is your temple. In Nehemiah, He is your mighty wall. In Esther, He is your deliverer. In Job, He is the arbitrator. In Psalms, He is your song. In Proverbs, He is your wisdom. In Ecclesiastes, He is your purpose. In Song of Solomon, He is your lover. In Isaiah, He is the mighty counselor, the Prince of Peace, the everlasting Father. In Jeremiah, He is your balm of Gilead. In Lamentations, He is the ever-faithful one. In Ezekiel, He is the restorer of life. In Daniel, He is the Ancient of Days. In Hosea, He is your faithful lover. In Joel, He is your refuge. In Amos, He is the bringer of the harvest. In Obadiah, He is the Lord of the kingdom. In Jonah, He is your salvation. In Micah, He is the judge of the nations. In Nahum, He is the jealous God. In Habakkuk, He is the Holy One. In Zephaniah, He is your witness. In Haggai, He overthrows your enemies. In Zechariah, He is the Lord of hosts. In Malachi, He is the messenger of the covenant. Here we go, stay with me. In Matthew, He is the King of the Jews. In Mark, He is your servant. In Luke, He is the Son of Man. In John, He is the Son of God. In Acts, He is the Savior of the world. In Romans, He is the righteousness of God. In 1 Corinthians, He is your rock. In 2 Corinthians, He is your triumphant one. In Galatians, He is your liberty. In Ephesians, He is the head over this church. In Philippians, He is your joy. In Colossians, He is your completeness. Thessalonians 1, He is your hope. Thessalonians 2, He is your glory. In 1 Timothy, He is your faith. 2 Timothy, He is your stability. Titus, He is your example. Philemon, He is your benefactor. Hebrews, He is your perfection. James, He is your power. 1 Peter, He's your cornerstone. 2 Peter, He is your purity. 1 John, He is your light. 2 John, He is your pattern. 3 John, He is your motivation. Jude, He is your preservation. Revelation, He is your soon coming King. To others because we have an opportunity to glorify God, and by that we can say, you know what? I serve an undefeated champion. From Genesis to Revelation. Tell others of God's mighty deeds. I conclude by saying, put in your hope in the Lord. Sarah, can you come to the piano? Put your hope in the Lord. Some of you are without hope because you are not resting in God's control. You are allowing worry to come in, to invite his 3 friends. Nearsightedness, spiritual amnesia, outward focus.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
Some of you are having a hard time. You don't have hope because you're simply being disobedient. You're not obeying God. It's not knowing about God, but it's here. Lastly, you're being disrespectful because you're putting your hope in other people. I want to tell you, as much as I love you, I'm going to fail. There's going to be a time in some of you, Mary, that you've already failed. I hope not. But people will fail you.
Yes.
Husbands, your wives are going to fail you sometimes. Husbands are going to fail you. Parents, your kids are going to fail you. Kids, your parents are going to fail you. Churches will fail. Maybe you're here from a broken, hurting church. This church isn't perfect either. We try our best. But ultimately, my hope is from the Lord.
Yes. Yes.
My hope is in the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Not in the next president of the United States. You're a person. But our hope is in the living Savior. He is my salvation. He was Daniel's salvation in the lion's den. You're in here today, you're watching online. You're facing the lion's den, maybe in your school, maybe in your work. Basically anywhere there's people. You're going to be in a lion's den sometimes. Put your hope in the Lord. Hope, remember, it means to anticipate, usually with pleasure. And I know it's hard to do, to hope in a hard place. We don't know what happened. Obviously, we know that Daniel wasn't eaten. He shut the mouth of the lions. But in that moment, there's not a lot of hope when you're surrounded by hungry lions. And to anticipate with pleasure. Do you anticipate that God will come through for you? Do you anticipate your answer, your salvation, your healing, your deliverance, restoration, whatever it is? It's here. Or it's on its way. I end with the last verse of the first verse. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Let's pray. Every head bowed, every eye closed. You came in here today, your situation seems hopeless. You're not anticipating anything good to come out of your situation. Ask yourselves three things. Could it be because you're holding on to it and God is just waiting for you to release it and just rest in His control? Could it be because you simply are not being obedient, making the right choices? Could it be by being disrespectful or disrespecting others, really you're showing that your hope is not in God, but in that person or in something else? God wants to fill you with hope. You can leave here with hope today. So how many of you here would say, Pastor Paul, I've been holding on to something and I need to let God have it? Would you raise your hand today? I need to rest in God's control. Because I'm tired of worry crashing my party. I'm tired. I tell you, on Thursday, I didn't have any strength left in me. So let go. Let God have control. You can put your hands down. Is there anybody in here that says, Pastor Paul, I want to do what's right. I know God wants me to do what's right. I love God, but I'm just not making right choices. Would you raise your hand today? I want to pray for you. Yeah. I got to do what's right. Lastly, how many of you are saying, Pastor Paul, I need to be more respectful. I need to remember that I serve an undefeated champion. So maybe your words or maybe on social media or whatever, you've just been putting your hope in the wrong things. I need to remember, I need to go back knowing that I serve an undefeated Savior. Would you raise your hand today? I want to pray for you. God bless you. Now I ask today, my hope is in the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. But the only way you can have that hope is to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. As I read to you from Genesis to Revelation, you can find all through Scripture. You have to know Him. You have to have a relationship with Him. Is there anybody in here today that doesn't have a relationship with Jesus, that needs to say, I want to make the choice, and I want to give my life to Jesus? Is there anybody in here that needs to do that today? I want to pray for you. You know what? Everything from the service, whether through the worship message or something that's saying that my life is not right. And could it be that you don't have Jesus in your life? Is there anybody in here today? I want to pray for you. Father, for those that raise their hand, Lord, that they're having a hard time letting go of control. Hope rests in God's control. They need to trust you, to acknowledge you, Lord. You will make their path straight. We just need to let go. Lord, because I'm not strong enough to carry these things in my life, but you are. And I want to show you, God, that I trust you by letting go of that situation. Whatever it is, just begin to release it to God. Say, God, I give you this. God, I release that to you. I release that. Now rest, friends. Rest. God, fill them with strength. Fill them with peace. as they trust in you. Lord, for those that are just making dumb choices and just not doing the right things, God, I pray that your Holy Spirit would just rise up and quicken us to do the right thing. God, we're all faced day to day with different things. And Lord, you'll never force your will upon our lives. You allow us to make choices for ourselves. So help us to choose to do the right thing, even if we don't feel like it. But that our love for you would lead the way. And knowing what you've done for us, the sacrifices that you made, help us to make those sacrifices as well. That we may build our lives on obedience. And lastly, God, when everybody's talking about how bad this world is going and what this nation is going through, Lord, I pray, Lord, that we would be respectful of the people that are over us. Lord, as we celebrate today in just a moment, 15 years later, after one of the most horrific acts that I've ever seen in 9/11. God, how you are still in control. And Lord, there's a purpose to everything. We don't understand it, God, but we serve an undefeated Savior. God, and let us offer respect so that we may build that bridge of hope to show this world that there's still something worth living for, and that's you. It's that word that was spoken in tongues and interpretation to be that light, God. Some of us need to get our lights back on, God. Let that joy come back, God. That hope come back, God. Because from Genesis to Revelation, God, you reign over all. And I thank you that you are on our side. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. At this time, I'm going to ask Rod Perry to come forward. If you did not receive a wristband today, we're going to show a video in just a second. Today we remember those lives that were lost. And the heroes that when everybody ran out, they ran in. I want to tell you that I've reached out to our fire department, and we are going to this week take them food, and we have pins that we are going to give each of our firefighters that says praying for our heroes. So I want to let you know we are doing that this week. And then I haven't got a chance to get to the police department yet, but we're going to reach out to our police department as well. And so these wristbands say, as a tribute to today, we're praying for our heroes. Talking about offering respect, there's a lot of disrespect going on. But as Christians, we need to be respectful to understand that these people literally give their lives every day for us. So make sure you get a wristband on the way out and have them pray for our heroes. Pray for those that are 50. Can you believe 15? Do you remember where you were when this happened? I cannot believe it. God is still in control, friends. So take a look at this video right now. And then I'm going to ask Rod to close us in prayer.
Amen. Praise the Lord. You know, when everybody first walks in here, like part of the pastor's message was about change. When you first walk in here in the building, you feel a change because you know where you're coming. And when you come in here and sit down and hear the songs, you feel another change. You feel uplifted. You feel warm inside. And then when we get to fellowship with each other, and we meet and greet each other, we feel another change. We feel closer, you know, we feel together, we feel as one. And that's what we need to feel as we go along about the day. And just as it was 15 years ago, there was a change, and it's a change every year, and it's a change that our hearts will never forget what our responders did and the cause they went through to help anybody. It didn't matter who they were. That they brought who they could, and they did what they could. And a lot of them didn't make it, but a lot of them did, and we appreciate them more than anything. So as we leave today, let's all keep changing. Let's go out and change people's lives. Let's make people aware of what we can do as Christians for others. And let's be solid in our life for Christ until we see you guys again next week. Praise the Lord. Amen.
When you stand this morning, I want to tell you on your way out, in honor of NFL Sunday, we have just a little tailgating going on. So we have hot dogs and lemonade for you. So the guys are out there grilling. Grab a hot dog as you leave today. Go Bears. And
Really?
let me see here.
Go Bears.
So as we leave here today, I got, let me see here. I want to give Connie one. Because she has a Rams shirt on, and Rams are back in LA, so that deserves something. Let me see. Liz, I want you to come here for Layla. She had a Dab on Them Folks t-shirt today. If you don't know what dabbing is, ask one of your youth. That's Carolina Panthers. I need to give it to Jesse because Jesse is rocking this hat.
Woo, Jesse!
All right. Let's see here. What else do we got on? What else are we supporting here? I don't see any green. My eyes don't see green.
You do see the black and gold, though.
All right, Jason, come here, buddy.
You can see that.
Jason's one of our youth. He has a sweet talent of playing the ukulele, so I'm going to give him a little gift card for the ukulele. All right, so love you. God bless you. Have a great day. Go grab a hot dog on the way out. Life group starts tonight. If you have not signed up, you want to be a part of the life group. We have 2 great life groups going on. Make sure you see people before you leave today.
How you doing, bro?